Hello! I already recorded this video, but it sucked. Just like every video sucks when I do it too late at night, so I decided that I'm gonna do the stupid thing again. So I've been a little bummed out for a couple days because I had started on the books that were on my TBR and realized to my horror that I cannot stand the very first book I started reading, which is my husband's wife, the suspense type book. I am at this point almost halfway into the stupid book and the stuff hasn't started yet. Half of the book was just devoted to learning about the characters, and I hate the character. I don't like the characters at all. The narrative follows the characters, two women. The first part takes place in the year 2000. The second part's going to take place in 2015. So you're going to see how these two women connect with each other 15 years later, and it's apparently going to be a whole cluster F, but I don't like the characters already. I can't stand them. They are both like these insufferable creatures to me. I just don't like them. It's hard to care about what happens to characters if you don't like them. So, yeah, I'm trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do about that. So I got a little bummed out. Usually the number one reason why I get into reading slumps is reading a book I don't want to read. And the only reason why I picked that book to read first is because out of the 3 arcs that I got that I'm reading this month, that one is released first. So I figured I'd read it first. Big mistake. But I got cheered up very quickly because the other day I was in the library and I saw this. I completely spaced on the fact that the final book to the Blackboard and Graham novel was out. I forgot this was coming out. And I didn't see it on the shelf this whole time in the new fiction section. I don't remember seeing this on the shelf, so it must have been checked out for a bit. So I finally have this, and this is what I've been reading. I knew that I was going to deviate from my TBR, which is why I'm not the kind of person who will ever have, I will never have one of those ambitious TBRs where I'm going to read 8 books this month. I'm never going to do that because I already know that I'm going to end up grabbing something from the library. So there's really, for me, there's no point in having more than 3 or 4 books. And of course that also depends on how large the books are. I decided that since I'm bummed out over this book I don't like, which I'm going to force myself to finish because I'm already halfway through it, I decided that I was going to talk about my 2017 reading or book goals. Reading goals. We'll call it reading goals. Reading goals. Where's the other ear? Reading goals. Reading goals. Zelda, get back on the bed. Get back on the bed, Zelda. Get back on the bed. Get back on the bed. I had reading goals last year for the year 2016, and if you were interested in reading that boring video, and it's just as boring as these videos, then you're more than welcome to click on the link below. It's on a different channel, so obviously you won't find it here. So, Zelda, what's your problem? What's your malfunction today? What's up? She's not cooperating with me right now. I'm maybe they'll fight over it. Anyway, for the most part, I met all my goals. The one thing I was kind of disappointed myself about is one of the goals that I wanted to meet was to read the books that I actually owned. I had specifically wanted to read the books I had won from Goodreads. And the thing is, out of the 91 books I read, 4 of them were books I won from Goodreads giveaways. The thing is, all 4 of those books were books I received after I made that video. Way after, like months later. And the only reason why I read those books is because all 4 of those books happened to be arcs, and I wanted to read them obviously before the release date. So that means that technically, yes, I read some books I won from Goodreads, but I obviously did not touch the books that I already had in my possession when I made the video last year. So it's a win and a fail at the same time. I also wanted to read books I owned, period, and when I once again looked at the list of books I read last year, out of the 91 books I read, if you do not count the Goodreads books, only one book that I read was actually a book I previously owned, and I know that I have donated that book to a thrift store since I read it, but it's like I didn't touch any of the books in the house. And it's because I get very, very, very distracted by library books. If I didn't volunteer at the library, this probably wouldn't be as much of a problem, because then all I would do is just say, okay, let's not go to the library for a while. Because you obviously have a problem. You can't be trusted with a library card. But because I'm always at the library volunteering, I always have to walk past the stinking news section. That's when I end up grabbing books. Like that one. But I think I can be forgiven for this one, because this was a book I had been waiting for and I forgot about it because I just forgot, because there's a lot of books in the world. And yeah. So once again, for the second year in a row, one of my reading goals is to get to the stinking books that I won from Goodreads. The other goal is to get to some of the books that I actually own, besides the Goodread books, of course. I've already set some aside in a stack, so my TBRs will mostly be books that I already own, not counting the books that will inevitably creep into the month from the library. And even though this particular month, all the books that were on my TBR ended up being relatively new, and 3 of them being ARCs, that's usually not going to be the case. That just happened to be how it was this month. So that's the other reading goal. Another reading goal, and this is another one I'm kind of ashamed of, is to read all 5 books that I won from Swoon Reads back in 2015. I don't know how long Swoon Reads have been doing this, but apparently when you win NaNoWriMo, you are allowed to enter to get a chance to win some books from Swoon Reads. And during 2015's NaNoWriMo, I was one out of 25 people who won 5 books from Swoon Reads. And they still have not been read, and it's been over a year. So these are the books. I'm assuming they're all various types of romance, which is a genre that I avoid like the plague, but this works for me, because one of my standing reading goals is to always break up what I'm reading, because I normally seem to gravitate towards the same stuff, and I like to add variety. So if I read these, that'll be another reading goal in the bag. And my last reading goal is to read a very specific book, and that is this book. Surprise, surprise, is another Juliet Marillier book. I want to finish all the Seven Waters books, which I have, with the exception of this one and the tiny little Kindle book that comes before that, because this is like number 6, and then there's like 5.5. But I just figured this is from my branch, so I can just renew it if I don't get to it this month. I just want to finish Seven Waters so I can move on with my life. Other than that, that is all my reading goals. I do keep track of my reading on Goodreads. Yeah, they have that yearly Goodreads challenge. If you're wondering, I put the challenge at 75 books. I probably should put it higher than that. My goal is 75. I'll probably end up reading about 100 and something books, because like 20 of them will be like juvenile or something. I don't know. We'll see. But that's it. I can't think of any other reading goals. I think that's it. I have a feeling I'm not gonna finish that My Husband's Wife book until like the end of the month. I have this funny feeling, because it's only been the new year for a week, and already at this point I've avoided touching that book 2 nights in a row. I would open the e-reader and I'm like, no, I don't wanna read this. I'm not gonna drive myself too crazy over it. So right now, obviously, I'm reading these 2 books at the same time. So I'm gonna read these 2 books. Once I finish this book, I'm probably gonna move on to that essay book, because it's already gonna be due in a couple days. I didn't realize how much time it went by since I checked it out. So I need to return that, and then I'll get to the other two arcs. This will probably be on my TBR for next month. I just, for some reason, felt the need to just grab it now for no reason, even though no one was going to touch it. It's been sitting there because my town is boring and nobody wants to read fantasies, but somehow I just felt in my head that I needed to have it in my possession right now so I don't forget. I don't know. That's it. That is it. I'm gonna go. So I hope everyone has a great week and happy reading. That's it. I'll see you later. Bye. Remember seeing this. Are you okay? Are you? You alright? She had like a massive itch. But